right, checkity check. I think we are good to go. Hello, hello. Sean here, aka Maker M, and tonight I am going to be doing a live build of the FMG9 Water Spray. It's like a kind of a Magpul FMG9-esque thing. Actually, I'll pull it up because I set that up ahead of time. There it is. So the MakerWorld profile is the FMG9 Water Spray, and it utilizes the Electric Water Spray Kit 02 by Henry Fang. You can, of course, get that on MakerWorld. And after this is all done, I'll post a link to it in the bottom. But I had a few requests for going over the build process of this because all the instructions are in Chinese, and I did translate them over, but it still is missing a few things. So just going to run over the build here and just a little preemptive information about it because I actually already built one. So I did build one of these units, and because my kid, he saw it online, he's like, I want one of those. And then as soon as I finished the build, he's like, can I have a second one so I can dual wield? And I'm like, yes, but also I need one too. So then we can kind of play the game together. You know, it is what it is. But I'll flip back over to just the dual cams here. So this is the unit here. It looks like the Magpul FMG9. Back in 2008, Magpul released the FMG9, which is a folding pistol, but this is a water spray version, so a toy version of it. And I printed all the components out of PETG, PETG High Flow, Bamboo's PETG High Flow, but it operates very much, maybe not very much, kind of like the Magpul FMG. So it has a little release here. You pull that back, this unfolds, grip folds out. I don't think the actual FMG had this, but this has a little grip there too. And yeah, it comes out to this nice foldable water spray toy. I didn't hook the battery up to it right now, but all the components are inside of the assembly right now. And put it up here, you can see it a little bit too. That is the complete package. So I'm going to be building another one of these, a second version. In some different colors because why not? And again, the other one is also also printed out of PETG High Flow, but it's really cool because it folds in, folds out. You have this little grip here, folds back, press a button there, that folds in. There's a few magnets in it, so you just release the magnet and then you can fold that, and then it's like a little suitcase. And that's part of why my kid loves it, because he's like, it's a little suitcase. And this is it all said and done. So I'm going to pop this on the back on the table over there while I build this other one, because I have, oh, there, of course, there goes my printer. It's all vibrating because it's doing its resonance testing. I have all my parts here and the water spray parts here. Oh, that reminds me, I actually got to grab my stainless fasteners, but I'll go do that. Alrighty, so I do have all the parts ready to go. They're all printed. I did pick up the fasteners and everything from Bamboo Lab. But one thing I noticed when looking at the bomb, and actually it was not until after I purchased them, but I noticed that on the bomb, the request for this, the FMG9, they just recommended steel, standard steel fasteners. And I'm like, this is a water spray toy, like these should be stainless. So buying it again, if I were to do this again, I wouldn't just buy it directly from the bomb on this. I would just take these fasteners. There's M2x8, M2x14, and M2.5x5. I would just pick up the stainless versions from Bamboo. The magnets here, they're just ring magnets. They will likely corrode over time too, because they're just those neodymium, or as I like to call them, neodymium magnets. So I think they may corrode over time too, but at least in the positions that these magnets are in, it's not like, it shouldn't get too much water there. But over time we'll see. So far that one that I got back there, That one hasn't had any issues, but I've only ran water through it like twice so far. Most of the time my kid just wants to, he plays Gary's mod and then he puts an FMG in the game and then he's holding the FMG and he's like pew 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 pew. So most of the time he's not spraying it because it's been in the house and I'm like, please don't spray me in the house. But yeah, so I'm going to go through the build process. I'm going to pull up the instructions here too, because I do have the document along with my converted or translated variant of it. So I'll put that on the screen here. It's going to be maybe a little tiny because it's up there in the corner, but at least it's there for a reference so you can kind of sort of follow along, or if you need to skip through, because right now this is just going to be a live. I'm hoping that it's going to take like maybe an hour or something like that, less than that hopefully, but we'll see where this goes. And of course I'll post the video after the fact so that you can just skip through and maybe I'll chapterize it or something. I don't know. This is my first proper live that I'm doing because honestly I don't know if it's that interesting watching me build something. I usually post like the before, I'm like, here's what the thing is, and then I post the end. I don't really post the in-between stuff because I'm like, I do my own thing. Like generally I'm jamming out, listening to tunes on max volume, and I'm just working on my projects, and then I like to show the end process of that. But in this case we're going to try and go through and do the build, and I very likely am just going to talk to myself and say some things because I'm here by myself, and right now I don't think there's anybody watching, so I can do whatever I want. Yeah, so I'm going to dive right into it and start out with the document and just go over the bill of materials for this build here. So of course, part number one would be the Bamboo Electric Water Spray Kit 02. It's ZC005 if you're looking for it on Bamboo Lab's website. This contains most of the components for the assembly minus some of the fasteners and the magnets. So you will additionally need M2 fine thread, M2 by 8, 30 pieces, M2 by 14, 5 pieces. In this case, with my stainless fasteners here, I'm actually going to use M2 by 12s because I had 12, 16, I didn't have 14. Not going to make a huge difference, at least for the application, because it's only 5 of them, and it's mainly just for some fasteners to retain parts on the body. So it shouldn't be a big deal going for M2 by 12 instead. From there, item number 5 would be the M2.5 by 5, 2 pieces. I just realized I skipped item number 2, which is the round magnets, 10 by 4 by 3 millimeter round magnets. Those are the magnets with the hole in the center, the little kind of see, sort of, yeah. So those are the round magnets with the hole in the center. And then from there, instant adhesive or acrylic glue. In this case, I am using 2 different versions of cyanoacrylate, CA Plus Zapagap. This is, yep, the Zapagap medium cyanoacrylate, as well as Gorilla Glue Super Glue. I really like this Gorilla Glue Super Glue one, this one here. The dispenser package on it is really nice because you just squeeze the sides and it's really, really nice for getting just a little bit. And the nozzles, it's fine, not too fine. This one does have a finer nozzle, but I find that it just flows too crazy. And sometimes you can get a little more than you bargain for when you're using this one. But this one I'm going to likely use for the rail and for the butt pad. So when it comes time for that, I have my glue all ready to go. And it's listed here for the filament materials. They originally printed it out of PLA. They used a purple, black, orange, and green. I'll just pull up their little demo here so you can see the purple, black, orange, and green. I opted for, on the other one back there, again, Bamboo PETG High Flow. There is green, orange, lake blue, and gray. And then this version here is light gray, black, green, and red. So we'll see how that one goes together. I asked my kid what he wanted for colors, and that is what he chose. So we're going with that. So yeah, we can start to dive into this now. As you can see, it has a little bit of a breakdown of the parts that are needed. Items. There is a couple other things that actually aren't mentioned here. A little bit of electrical tape. I use this for just wrapping around the battery to keep that in place. and then some filament. So I just have a little bit of PETG here. This is for, I think, 2 locations in the build that you just need a little bit of filament to pop in there to hold some things in place. So I have that here along with my tools, and we're gonna dive right into this. So yeah, and I put some lo-fi chill hop in the background. Hopefully I'm not gonna get banned because of it. I looked up no copyright stuff, so we'll see. We'll see. Maybe even because I said that word, things might happen. I don't know. Anyways, off to step number 1. So step number 1, we're going to actually, before we even get to step number 1, we're just going to open up the package for the Bamboo Lab components here. So here we have, this is the main water spray body. That is what does a bit of the work there. Inside we have the tubing. There is a little jig that I'll pull out shortly. I'm thinking this is going to be the battery. It is indeed. Oh. O-rings. Those are important too. So battery. We'll just, maybe I'll just make a little pile over here. And I missed the box. Oh well. So battery. O-rings, tubing, good old tubing. So we'll need that for 2 places in the build. And then the water spray body. That's right here. It has a switch pre-attached to it, so it's ready to go, all wired in. You just pretty much need to put it into the assembly, put a couple fasteners in, and you're done. And what is in this little one? So this, oh, the charge cable. So yeah, I have quite a few of these now, but it's just a simple little charge cable with a little circuit in there for charging your battery. So yeah, we'll need that too. So that's about it for the stock Bamboo Lab electric water spray kit 02. That's everything that it comes with. Now onto the printed parts. So one of the first things that you'll need is this little tubing jig here. So this is a jig so that you can cut the tubing to the correct length. There is 2 positions that you need to cut the tubing for. One is 222 millimeters and the other one is 5 millimeters. So the 222 millimeters, that's this long section here, and the 5 millimeter is the little section over here. So I'm going to cut that tubing now so that we have it for later in the project. Actually, you'll use the longer length of tubing first, like pretty much right away, but the shorter section will be used later. So I pretty much just butt it up to the end there, push the tubing in, make sure it's all seated nice and flat, take a sharp blade and just score it down there, give it a cut, and there we go. Now we have our tubing, 222 millimeters. So this will be going into that body, and then we'll flip this little jig around, put that piece of tubing in there, and then I'll cut the 5 mil piece right now, and then I'll just put it off to the side so we have it for later. So there we go, tubing is cut. And this will be for the handle, so we'll get there later. This jig, it is a different color because I actually printed the jig for my previous build of this water spray kit, and there was no need to print a second one because the jig is a jig and it's going to work no matter what. So that's good. You don't need this. This is extra tubing. I just kept it from my previous build, and we'll see. There's always something that you could use tubing for. Maybe. I don't know. But on to the next step. So the tubing is now cut, and assemble the trigger components. So that is going to be, yeah, like that's the thing, is it's going to be like, even though I've done this before, I'm kind of winging it at the same time because I just interpreted the instructions. It's missing some things, and of course they're all in Chinese. So I have done a translate over here, so I have an English version of them, and I'll read through them as I go. But yeah, we'll see how this goes. So might as well pull out all the components here so we have them ready. This is the main body, so that's a nice PETG high flow gray. Rail, And you can see there's some orange components in there. That's from the previous build. For some reason they had two of the triggers on the build plate, and then there's like two of another component. You don't really need two of each of those, so in this case I only printed one of them, but the last time I did the build I printed both of them. So there we go. Yeah, so next part, it's gonna be like, this is gonna be kind of a little bit of a mess for now because I am just doing it in this little window here. Normally I do it back there on the table, but I didn't really want to move my whole setup over there, so we're gonna do it here. We're doing it live. That whole thing, you know. So yeah, trigger components. So we have this is the body for the water spray component. And then we'll need the trigger components. So we have a trigger guard. We have this little adapter piece here that goes inside of this here. I will say I did pull out, this is a little pin vise with a number 52 twist drill. I think it's 63 thousandths of an inch, or roughly 1.6 millimeters. I pulled out this little twist drill primarily for the M2x14s, or in my case M2x12s, because the holes are a little tight. This is just a touch over the minor diameter of an M2 fastener, and I found that this is a good thing to just ream out the holes a little bit, because those screws are so long, and the heads, I stripped out a couple on the last time I built this. So I didn't need it for the M2x8s, but for the M2x14s, it's a good option. So if you have either maybe a 1.5, you might be able to get away with, but the minor diameter of an M2 fastener is like 1.561 or something like that. So it's a good idea to just go a touch above that, not too high, because then you'll eat into where the threads will make contact. But yeah, I use this little pin vise and number 52 twist drill. And additionally, I have two screwdrivers here. 1.5 mil and a 2 mil. These are just your standard hex. You can use an Allen key or something, but I really like this set of screwdrivers for, I do a lot of, as you can see, a lot of work with different assemblies and things like that, so those work out quite well for me. I'm gonna put the orange stuff away because that's not for this. Okay, but we can start putting the stuff together now. I think, yeah, 1.5. I'm gonna, for the M2x8s, we're going to need a 1.5 mil, I think. Or do I need the smaller one? Oh, look at that. I need the smaller one. The 1.27. Yep, there we go. 1.2, it's probably 1.275, but 1.27 is what this one says on it. And this is, yeah, what I just used for the M2x8s. This is getting the trigger guard and the components. This is part of the, I guess, the grip and the trigger guard portion. This is going to just move up and down just when you fold it. So I tighten the fasteners and then I back them off just like a quarter turn or something, just so that they're not tight in there. You just want a little bit of pivot there. Snug, but a little bit of pivot. So yeah, I tighten them down, back them off, and then I'll do the same for the opposite side. Put that M2x8 in there. And like I said, these ones you don't need to ream out the holes. I'm able to get the fastener in no problem. Tighten, back it off, and then test. Yeah, it's got some good flex there, so that is good. Oh, look at that. Looks like I do need to, this one has a little bit of support material still stuck in there, so I will actually have to ream it out. So it's a good thing I got this drill. So I'm just going to take this pin vise and quickly ream out the hole so the fastener has a path to go through. Huzzah, almost there. Oh, and now it's stuck. Gotta tighten it, tighten that pin vise. There we go. Through hole. Fantastic. And then I think I'll just clean it up a little bit with my knife here. I will say I did remove the supports from this. There were a few points where you needed to remove supports, but really any of the other prep I did not do yet, just so that you can see the process of the preparation that goes into this. There's not a whole lot, but some things like when you go to put the adhesive on later, I was thinking that maybe I would sand it, but I did the last one without sanding, and I think because of the way it's printed and the ridges, it holds together really well. So some of the things probably don't need to be done because I didn't do them before, but just going to give a little bit of tips and tricks along the way because this is my second build, and hopefully it will help somebody. So yeah, now we have this portion on there. Then you just pretty much take this component and also add some more fasteners. So these are going to be more M2 by 8s. Put them in through this way. Pretty sure this is the direction that it's got to go. I think before I get too far, oh yeah, I need, there's a hole here. And last time I actually had to ream that out a little bit because the tube did not fit in there. So that was something that I actually forgot to grab the drill for. But I have them right beside me, so I will do that as well. And then that way, because yeah, I just felt the tube was just way too tight in there. And having it a little more clear certainly helped with the assembly process. So yeah, I'm just getting this M2 by 8 into here. And again, tighten it down, back it off like a quarter turn, maybe a touch more because that's a little tight. There we go, a little bit of flex there. Another M2 by 8 for the other side. What printer did you use to print? Oh, there's a question. Sorry, I just noticed that. What printer did I use to print these? So I have a few printers, but these were printed on the Bamboo Lab, either the X1C or the P1S. I have both of them. Now that I have both, I just kind of, yeah, I print a lot of things. Yeah, behind me over there, I have a Voron 02. There's a Mercury 1.1 with Hydra, so a triple lead screw mod, and you can't see it. It's down on the rack over there, but there's a Voron 2.4 over there. So I started with Enders back in the day. I was a good old Ender boy, and then upgraded them all, made some custom builds, and now I'm a Bamboo fanboy because now I have 2 Bamboos and I want a third. And of course they released the H2S, like, what was it? Yes, no, it was today, the H2S. That looks pretty slick. And then I saw that like multi-nozzle changer teaser that they're posting now too, and I'm like, stop it, so many printers that I want. And of course the Snapmaker U1, like, my goodness, I was like gonna build a multi-tool changer for my Voron 2.4, but it's like now you can get like out of the box printer that's multi-tools, and I'm like, why you gotta do this to me? It is what it is. It's actually a good thing because then there's more options on the market, and yeah. So I'm just gonna actually feed the tube in now, and so it kind of goes through. You have to feed it through this path, then through here, underneath the trigger. And again, I'm probably, yeah, I think I'm gonna have to, yeah, I'm gonna have to open up that hole a little bit. It's a little tight. So I'm going to grab my calipers and get a measurement of this tubing, and then I'll get a appropriate twist drill for that. So give me a moment. Okay, so give it a measure. Don't squish it too much because it's tubing. About 5 mils, or let's switch over to Imperial, 0.198. So yeah, 200 thou, or about 5 mils. So I'll grab an appropriate twist drill for that. Maybe I have something in here. 5.58, 5.2, 5.17, 5.05. There we go. So this is a number 9 twist drill. Yeah, number 9. Number 9. Whoa. Whoa. My goodness. When I work on stuff, it's just such a mess. That's also why I generally don't post videos, because, like, look at this. It's a hodgepodge of nonsense. Anyways, I'm just going to punch a little hole through here. Oh my goodness. There we go. The existing hole there, just going to open it up a little bit up to this 5mm drill. 5mm drill. There we go. Okay, that should be sufficient. Hopefully. Seems a little tight still, actually. It's tight. Austin Power, she's very tight, yes. She's very tight. Okay, I'm stepping up. Stepping up to the next drill. Which is actually stepping down in some ways, because it's going from a 9 to an 8. Free. Yep, thanks, Mom. Freedom 38. Team Bamboo 2 have the mini. Just got an X1C on Facebook. Good deal. Yeah, that I don't have a A1 or A1 mini, but those are great options, especially for the price point. Like, I come from Enders, like Ender 3s. Well, my first printer was an Ender 5. Oh my goodness, like this is still a little too tight. Up another size. This is part of the fun. Part of the fun is just winging it, seeing what happens, making changes, making adjustments, making it work. Okay, there we go. This should be good. Should. Like, I feel like I just need to go up like 2 sizes. You know what? I'm just going to go up to a number 5. We're just going to go up to a number 5 and then call it good. Because I've done this a few too many times. This is my 4th drill. 4th drill for opening this up. So yeah, some of this stuff wasn't mentioned in the instructions. Okay, now still a little tight, but I think we can make that work. Yeah, it's feeding through slowly. Oh, there we go. There we go. Perfect. Okay. So now, after all that, we have the tube fed through the front there. I'm just going to feed it back through this section here, back through this little, here, I'll move this out of the way, back through this little section here. It's got a little loop where you can feed the tube through. And there we go. So I leave a little bit sticking out the front for now. Once you put this component on there, you'll just connect the tube and then you can slide it back into place, but I leave a little bit of leeway for now, just so it makes connecting it a little easier later. So now that we have that in place, I think we will put these off to the side as well as this. And now we can go on to the next step. Finally, so assemble the trigger components. In this case, we'll also put the grip on too. This will use more M2 by 8s. Printer's printing. Okay, so that is pretty good. M2 by 8s again, tighten it down. Okay, snug, back it off a touch. There we go, got some motion in the ocean. M2x8 for the other side. Snug. Back it off. There we go. So yeah, that's good. Feels like I could back off these a touch. Again, you just want you want them in place, but with enough play so that you got some good motion here, because this whole section is going to be folding in and out, so you don't want them too tight there. So yeah, that's I think that's pretty good for that section. Now, next, assemble trigger components. Install the magazine latch. Well, part of the trigger components is, of course, the trigger. So I guess we'll do that. So trigger is this little part here. Pop that into place. There are two parts that you need. There's this one and this one. So this one has a little key on it. It's kind of hard to see. Focus. So it has a little key on one side there, and the other side is just a ring that goes around it. So the key actually lines up. There's a little, my goodness, there's a little keyed portion there that it lines up with. So you can just pass that through and line it up. There we go. Oh yeah, and this is actually one of the parts, this pin here that holds the trigger in. This is one of the parts that I would recommend taking this number 52 twist drill to, because this is where those the M2x14s will be going into. So if you give it a little bit of clearance here for the minor diameter of the fastener, that will just give that fastener a better chance of getting in there without stripping the head. Because yeah, like I said, last time I did this, I stripped out, I think, 2 different screws. Oh, it's all squeaky. Almost, there we go. Okay, and then we'll just do the other side too. Like I said, give it the best chance for that fastener to go in there without stripping out the head. There we go. So that's in there now. And so yeah, this is that pin that's keyed. You just push it into the component that has the key that matches up, and then the other side, this ring, it just slides over there. So now that kind of just sits in there loose for now. Once you put it into the rest of the assembly, that'll hold it captive, but for now it's just going to be loose there. Okay, so install the magazine latch. So the magazine latch is on the back of it now. I think that's where you need the filament for it. But it's like, again, these instructions aren't the greatest, because it's kind of like, it kind of jumps over, and like there's pictures. Well, I guess the picture is there, but the instructions above it. Either way, we will do that next. The magazine latch. So that's this little piece here. The little one with the little hook, that is the magazine latch. Like, I need a better camera. I put the nicer camera up here so you can see my pretty face better, but I probably should have put it up there, because yeah, whatever. You live and you learn. So yeah, the magazine latch, this component, it just goes with the hook outwards. You want to put the hook back. This is where that filament comes in. So you'll just use a little strand of filament. Again, I'm using some PETG. This PETG will retain this in there. I'm just going to cut it at a little bit of an angle. Make it easier when you feed it in there. So you just put a little bit of filament into this hole. And look at that. I might also need to ream this hole out too. Look at me. Look at me. King of hole reaming. So in this case, because it's filament, I'm going to use a 1.75 millimeter twist drill. So I'm just gonna, I have a few here, but I just gotta measure them. So what do we got here? That's a 2 mil. This might be the 1.7. Yeah, it is the 1.75. Okay. So again, use my little pin vise here. Take my number 52. We'll put it somewhere safe, which there seems safe enough. 1.75 is in. Pull that out for now. Just quickly ream out this hole so that the 1.75 filament will fit in there. On the last build, I reamed this out and then I didn't bother melting it into place. I guess oh, that little ring came off. In theory, I guess you could just like take a little torch to that, melt it into place so that that filament is all stuck in there well and good. But I haven't had any problems with it coming out on my other builds, so I didn't do that yet. If it comes out, then I might. Yeah, there we go. So that is fed into there nicely. Now I'll just pass it through, push it all the way through, and I just like to, yeah, push it through, and we'll give it a twist so that it lines up nicely, and I back it out a little bit so that I can use my flush cutters. Take my flush cutters just on an angle there, give it a snip, and then take that 1.75 twist drill, push it into place, and then there we go. We got our mag catch there. So this is, I'll show you later when it all goes together, but this is for latching when you latch the grip back. Yeah, that's mainly what it's for. So we got that together now. Put the filament off to the side, put the tools off to the side, and that is good. So yes, okay. So install the magazine latch secure with 1.75 millimeter filament, done. Attach the trigger return rubber band. This is a 24 mil by 2.5 mil O-ring. So these are the O-rings that actually come with it? Question mark? Question mark? Where did, yes, that is the one. I was confused because I have a second bag from my previous build because I used one of the O-rings. But this is the 24 mil by 2.5 mil diameter O-ring. I guess the diameter is 24 mil. But you take this O-ring, and this is for the trigger plus the magazine latch. So you just like loop it around the top of the trigger here, push it into place. Oh, it's tight. Okay, well, I'm gonna seat this down. There we go. So that O-ring's just in there, and then you just stretch it back over the mag catch, and now it's over the mag catch there. So you got a little springy action with this O-ring, and then the O-ring also gives you a little springy action for your trigger too. So it works dual purpose O-ring, so that's pretty cool. Okay, attach the trigger return rubber band. Cut the water tube to the appropriate length. Insert it into the magazine. Okay, well, I did that. It said cut the water tube in step 1, so I already did that, but whatever. Insert it into the magazine. So there's a little hole at the top here. That is the feed hole. That's where your water will go through. It's actually a really cool design too. This grip is also where you store the water, so it has a little threaded insert at the bottom here. But there is a tube that is printed into the body of this. So the tube just runs the, oh my goodness, it runs the full length of the body down to the bottom and has an opening at the bottom. So you don't have to feed the tube in all the way. You just connect it at the top, and then the internal integral printed tubing just does the work. So that's also another reason I opted for the PETG over something like PLA, because I'm like, it's going to be in contact with water. So I'd rather have it protected for some longevity. But you pretty much just take this tubing, put it over top, push it all the way down so it's seated nicely, and then there we go. So we got tubing in place and it doesn't get in the way. And once I get a little bit further, again, I'll be pulling this back so it'll have a little more slack there, but right now that is plenty good. So step 5 was, we'll scroll down on both of them. Step 5 was cut the water tube to appropriate length. Again, even though we already did that in step 1, insert it into the magazine. Step number 6, insert the bolt assembly. So this is where we'll take the main body now of the water spray unit. I'm gonna make my mess a little messier and put that over there. And this is where we'll use the only M2.5s in this build. The rest of the build is M2s, but in this case, these holes are a little bit larger, kind of hard to see again. But these holes are a little bit larger, and this is where did you go? Where did you come from? Where did you go? Oh, there it is. This is the part. So this little part here, this is for the latching, as well as it's not really a bolt, but it cycles. So it's kind of cool, adds a little bit of action to the unit. But yeah, you need to put this on there, and it just goes on this part here, again with those M2.5 by 5 mil fasteners. I didn't actually have any in stainless for these, so these 2 fasteners will get to be steel. And if they corrode, they corrode, because that's what happens with water and fasteners. Okay, so yeah, the M2.5s need the 1.5 millimeter driver. So I'm just going to put those both in there. Just one in the front. Put these into place. And it's a little, gotta give it a little bit of a press, because the holes are like, they're kind of undersized. So you kind of gotta force it into there. But once you start getting some bite from those threads, then it starts to feed in. And I don't tighten the front one all the way. Whether you start with the front or the back first, doesn't really matter. But I don't tighten them all the way until I have both them in there, just so you have a little bit room for adjustment if you need. Oh my goodness. Fastener is, yeah, it's a little bit of a struggle getting it in there. So you got to give it some pressure. The hole is just a little too small for this. It's like M2 is too small and M2.5 is too big. So maybe there's a better fastener out there, but this is what they recommended, and I am just going to adhere to that. Okay. Like, this one is not going in. Am I just like rolling over? Rolling. Okay, well, you know what? I'm going to tighten the other one down a bit more so that that brings that thread body, or the body that I'm threading this into, a little bit higher. And hopefully it won't sink into it as much if I bring that up. I might just have to take a twist drill and open it up a bit. Maybe, maybe not. Oh, getting some bite. Getting some bite. There we go. Before I strip out this hole or something. Yeah, it's like some of these things could have been a little better, but ultimately it goes together. I know because I built one of these already, so it's not that bad. Once you get it started, then it feeds a lot better. Most of my time is going to be spent putting this fastener in, apparently. Okay, well, that is It's not seated all the way down though, so that bothers me. Okay, you know what? I'm just going to take a little twist drill. I don't remember what the minor diameter of that is. It's not a 1.5 or 1.75. Minor diameter of a M2.5 is questionable. I think this is a 2mm twist drill. Okay, we will see if that made any difference. The difference of any. I'm looking at the time. I'm like, at the beginning of this, I'm like, oh, maybe it'll take me an hour or something. It's already 6:45, and I've got to step 6. And there's like 20-something steps. This is going to take longer than anticipated, but that is in place. So yeah, it's the latchy thing. So it has a little spring-loaded section here. This is for when you like fold it up, you pull this back and it unlatches the device. So that is now in place. Then we can go on to the next step. So install the switch, battery, and core unit. Route the wires as shown in the diagram. Keep the connector below the shown water tube for easy future charging. So this is where it's like you kind of just gotta look at the picture and interpret what the picture shows, but I'll do my best at running through this and then getting the wiring in a decent way. So yeah, this you have these 2 little pins here. They just line up, and I guess I'll connect the tubing first, so that can just slide the tubing over the front here, and then you can back this into place, and I pull the tube at the same time as I seat it, and there we go. Now that's seated in place. So the water spray body, the core unit, is in place, and then we'll just route the wires appropriately, including the trigger. So the trigger, this goes here, question mark? Yeah, it goes here. So the trigger, am I doing this the right way? Yes, I am. So the trigger goes in there, and the switch, the little lever of the switch goes back this way. Clicky, clicky. And then I just route the wire underneath here. And I'm pretty sure you just use an M2x8 to secure this trigger into place. So we will grab that now. M2x8. And I'll just secure the trigger switch in place, and then can go about routing the wires the rest of the way. Okay, now that doesn't want to go in either. Fine, I guess I'll open up the hole a little bit too. Back to the number 52. Okay, so that is good. Maybe I should use, let's see. I think I'll use a longer screw here. So I don't know what this doesn't actually call for a fastener. It just says install a switch battery. Yeah, it doesn't even specify what fastener you're supposed to use. So I'm going to use an M2x12 for this, because that should hold the trigger switch in much better, because the M2x8 just doesn't seem long enough for there. Again, it calls for M2 by 14s, but I have M2 by 12s. And that was the ticket. Putting an M2 by 12 or an M2 by 14 in there is much better because the switch actually, or the fastener has some engagement, and it will now stay in place. So now the trigger switch is good to go. Clicky clicky. Okay, so route the wires down. This wire can go up. Kind of just want to route the battery wires up through. You want the connector to be down over here so that you can attach the battery later. But it will actually, the battery seat's over here. So what I did on the last one is I just looped these wires back, and let's see. I don't remember what I did the last time, but we will figure it out. I remember, yeah, I looped these wires back, and then when I put the battery in there, I can actually do that now. Pop the battery in place, and then you can just run. Yeah, I think this makes the most sense, because then you can just run. If you put the battery connector near this end, then you can just run this down behind the switch. And then, yeah, if you run it down behind the switch here. Let me see. I'm going to check my other one. Because, yeah, I put it, okay, yeah. So I ran it up through there near the front, like in front of the trigger guard. Because if you put it back here in this void back there, there's potential for it getting hung up. Because of course this portion here, I'll fold it in, but this portion here, you just use this little button back here, push that in, and it folds down. So you just want to make sure that it clears the front here. There's not as much stuff in the way here, but then there's a little bit more going on in there, so I didn't want to put that back there. So yeah, I'll kind of feed this the same way. Through the front, and this is where I use a little bit of electrical tape. The electrical tape is just to keep the battery in place. So I'm just going to wrap it around the battery, give it a little bit of space around the back of the battery, and then that should be a good enough length. Cut it off. So then, yeah, a little bit of electrical tape. No, could have used a little bit longer length. So that was not long enough. That was about 3 inches of electrical tape. Not sufficient. Not sufficient. We're going to do about 4 inches. We'll do 4 inches. I know I'm flip-flopping between metric and imperial, but some of the things I work in metric pretty much all day. I used to work in imperial, and then a lot of these things are in metric. There we go, perfect. So that's a decent, yeah, 4 inches of electrical tape. I guess 4 inches would convert because it's 25.4 centimeters per inch, so just over 101.6 millimeters if you want to get fancy with it. So yeah, batteries in place. Now we'll just route that wire down underneath, and then I'll just tuck these. I just tucked these underneath the electrical tape loop that I made here, just so it's kind of out of the way. And the electrical tape doesn't really hold it all that much, but at least keeps it in place so that it's a little bit out of the way when you go to assemble everything later. And then I'll just feed this wire underneath. Yes, indeed. There we go. So that's pretty good there. So that's roughly like roughly where it'll sit, just a little bit there, and then you can just loop this around, connect it in later when you need to. Actually, you can probably even connect it now. And I don't know if it's a bad idea to run this dry. Generally, it's a bad idea to run pumps dry, but there we go. So it's operating, so that's good. Battery has some charge. I do want it to be in the forward position, so there we go. You'll want it in the forward position when it's latching, because then you have your... Oh, do I need to latch a little bit more? Okay. There we go. So it needs to be in that forward position because that's where there's a spring inside of here, and that's where it latches when you fold it. When you fold it up, I'll go through that part later when I get to that assembly component. But that more or less is probably enough for the trigger for now. Maybe I'll actually route this black wire underneath so that it's a little less of an obstruction when I go to assemble it later. And we will disconnect the battery for this part because we don't really need it connected. And yeah, that'll be pretty good. So that is in place now. Install switch battery core unit, route the wires, keep the connector below. So that's step 7 here. Insert water tube into the core unit. Hey, I already did that step. Fancy that. Secure the battery with tape. Hey, I also did that. Glue the accessory rail. Okay, now we get to gluing. Gluing time. So accessory rail. We're going to move this stuff a little bit back. So this is the accessory rail. It's kind of like a Picatinny rail, more or less. The profile is pretty much there. I will say this handle here, it does fit a little loose. I did just print it as the profile. As it sits, it's a little loose on there, so maybe it could benefit from scaling, but this would also mean that you have to scale the part for the latching system here and maybe cut the tube a little bit shorter. So I just left it at the default size, just for good measure, because most people, this is what you'll get, is like if you just go straight up download the files, this is what you'll get. So I'm going to glue on the accessory rail now. This is where my adhesive comes into play. So I got my cyanoacrylate here, and I'm just going to put like a layer on top of this, just a little bit of glue on the top, tippy top. Let's double check where this sits again. Always good to see where your rail sits because I'm just eyeballing this process. So we're just going to put some glue on the top of it. Of course, now the glue doesn't want to feed because there we go. There we go. Open that up. Okay. Glue time. So give it a little bit of glue. And then I put a little extra at the front there because last time I did this, I noticed that the front didn't seat fully completely. So accessory rail, it has these little guides. There's a little circle and then more of an oval. You can only really put this one way, so this is the way it goes. Just goes right on top, and then I'll just check the alignment. Those little pins, they pretty much put it in like really good alignment, so you don't have to do a whole lot to keep it in place, but yeah. And I just hold it down for a little bit of time, 20-30 seconds. And again, this is probably why I don't really record myself building things, because it's just like, hey, now it's glue time, and then now it's time to just hold something. And I guess I could put a clamp or something, but generally with cyanoacrylate, because it's such quick curing, there's really no need to clamp it. You can just like press it, and after a moment you're done. So I'm going to call that good. Good. So rail is in place. Next step is insert the tongue tab. So this is, step 10. I didn't scroll down on this thing. So insert the accessory rail, step 10 here. Step 11 is insert the tongue tab. That is this part here. So this part has a little cutout in it, just a little rectangle cut out of it, and then you just have to feed this in the correct way. You feed it so that the tongue, like the little cutout portion, is towards the back, and then it just gets fed into the front here. There's a little slot in the front. Just feed that into there, and then you'll see that slide into there. And this little component, that will line up with that red piece that I attached to the core unit. So when I get that in there, I will show you. Oh yeah, the nozzle. I can glue this part on too. So this is another glue part. Got to glue that into place. Might as well take that out for now. Get a little bit of glue on there. Just a bit of adhesive around the side, top. And that is probably too much, but that's okay. So make sure that the nozzle goes up, because if it goes down and you glue it into place, it's not going to work very well. So it more or less aligns pretty good, like doesn't hurt to eyeball it into place. When you put the core unit in later, it will line up with the face of this, like the hole, so that will, I don't know. I didn't have any problems the last time I put this in, so there's not a whole lot of play in there. So I don't think if you put it off one side or the other, it's going to cause a problem. But I guess we'll see when we get there. So the nozzle is in place now, or muzzle parts is what it says. I guess it's yeah. Step 13, assemble the main shell. Insert the muzzle first. Important, align the tongue tab properly. So yeah, this is where you're feeding in the main body unit into this, and then aligning this component. So we'll put that one back in there. That tongue tab, that'll sit in there. And then I will feed this part in. So now we just got to put this. So gotta feed this in. Oh my kitty's meowing. So yeah, you can see a little bit. There's that red part coming up through there. So that's where you gotta align that with that tongue tab. So I just find that it's, if you have something like the screwdriver or something, you can just push the tongue tab a little bit forward so that you can line it up. And then you also have to, like, at the same time, it's a little finicky because you have to feed the tip of the core unit into the muzzle here, and so you kind of gotta line it so it fits in there nicely. Oh, there we go. And then I gotta back this tab up so that the little arm can reach in there. And something is stopping it from seating for some reason. There we go. There we go. That's good. Oh, I pushed out the I pushed out the muzzle apparently. So there's something. There we go. There we go. I guess my glue wasn't fully dried. That's what happens when you go a little too fast. The glue's not dried yet, but that's okay. So that's in place now. Nozzle is aligned with the muzzle, more or less. And we have the accessory rail in place. And this is that, oh, you can kind of see it there. This little tab here, that's what actually latches to the stock when you fold it up. So that is now in place. I'm going to have to route these cables a little better later. That's the same thing I did when I built the last one. I routed the cables after the fact just so that they were out of the way, because yeah, you don't want those to be in the way. So align the tongue tab properly, which I did that. That is, you can see the little X and the check mark here. If the tongue tab is not seated properly, the latching mechanism is not going to work on this. So you need to make sure that that little rectangle is oriented the correct way, and then you have the tab lining up with that. So now that we did that, we'll head on to step number 14, which is install the bolt. Step number 14 is the bolt. That's this little component here. That goes onto that tongue tab in there using two M2 by 8 fasteners. Where, there it is. There it is. So two M2 by 8s. Put that one in, but not all the way yet. And then we'll get the other M2 by 8. Put that into place. Okay, that fastener is in there. Then we tighten up the back fastener. Okay, so now the bolt, so that works. Got motion, so that's what you want. You want to be able to, when you pull that back, spring in action there, and then that will, this little tab on the front, it retracts that so you can kind of see. Retracts the tab as well, and that's for the latching of the stock. So that is in place now. Moving on to step number 15. So step number 15 is where we'll pull out the longer fasteners. This is for the pivot of the grip. I'm going to put this little ring, the ring that fell off earlier, I'm going to put that back over there because you need that in place. And again, using M2 by 12s instead of M2 by 14s because this is all I have for stainless ones. So I'm going to put those in place. Feed this up into there, and this is where the grip sits. So I think, yeah, I think I can get away with, yep, I can get away with putting this in first. Just wanted to make sure. Some of the steps I was like, I wasn't sure if I did them in a different order because it didn't make sense, but I think at least the step orders make most of the sense. So get your M2 in there, tighten this one into place. Again, that's a hole that I reamed out using the number 52 twist drill, which is 63 thousandths of an inch or roughly 1.6 millimeters, which is just over the minor diameter of an M2 fastener because I had issues with stripping out the heads. So yeah, there's one side. Tighten these down. Guess I could use an electric screwdriver to make things a little easier on myself, but why? Why do that? Tighten this one down. Same with the rest of them. Tighten it down until it's snug. Back it off a little bit, and then that way you have some good flex. So yeah, that's looking good so far. Got some folding action. So this is most of the unit is like taken care of in the front here. So that's together. Moving on to the next step. This is the grip latching point. So this is number 16. Use 4 M2 by 8 screws to fix it to the gun body. Oh yeah. So this is I gotta put this little latch in here. So this latch is kind of cool. So this is where the grip seats up against, and that little component earlier where I put the O-ring that latches, this is what it latches with. So you just feed this in through here. Pretty sure it goes in this, nope, this way. So the angle goes in there, and this is that little, it's a threaded piece, and then it comes with another little, this is the button portion. You just pretty much thread it right onto the end there, and then you have a little button here. This it's hard to see. hard to see, but it's just a little button for latching and unlatching the grip. So this is the next component. This doesn't have a spring or anything in there because that O-ring in the earlier steps, that is really the spring mechanism for this. So now I will just insert this into the back of the unit, and yeah, that just fits in there nicely. And again, this is going to use some M2 by 8s to secure it into place. M2 by 8 number 1. This one you can actually tighten down, like don't tighten too much because it's threaded into plastic, but this one you can tighten down and you don't have to back off because it doesn't need to pivot. Okay, I'm gonna quickly check my tunes. Free to use in streams. Well, hopefully. Yeah, I'm just using streaming like a station on the tubes because I just wanted some background music. Normally I have jams going on, but a lot of the music I listen to I don't think would be allowed in here because apparently they don't like you using other people's music. So trying to use something free, copyright free, that is. So there's screw number 3, and then we'll get the last M2 by 8 into place. And this is the grip latching point, so after this I'm sure that we can test it, or rather I hope that I can test it. Oh, look at that, look at that. So that now latches into place, and then you just push the button. There's a little button on the back here, you just push that and that unlatches it. So yeah, that latches into place nicely. You can hear a nice satisfying click. So there we go, that is together now. Okay, install, where am I? Step number 16 is where I was at. Step 17 is connect the battery. Okay, I guess if you really want to. You don't really have to at this point. So this is another part here. This is where you need to feed in the M2 fasteners. So this one just got a little, I'm pretty sure this is, let me see. Nope, that's not how that goes. This is how that goes. So you got the little opening here. This is clearance for this part here. It's just clearance for that little section, and it's got a little spring on it. So there's just a tab here that's printed into it, and that's a spring for this mechanism. So just for the grip here. And I'm going to remount these holes as well because this is where M2s by 12 or 14 go into. That hole it really didn't need to actually do much to, so that's all good. Okay, then install the end cap, carry handle. Yeah, I think I can just use M2 by 8s for here. Those are kind of short. Kind of short. I think I might just actually use the M2 by... just knocked it over. Yeah, I'm going to use the M2 by 14s here. So I'm also going to, the hole here, the through hole in the bottom, I'm just going to ream that out a little bit so that I give those fasteners a better chance. And I'm just using M2 by 12s here because there's a little bit more length on them. And it just gives it a little bit more purchase because it's a rotating part. So just want to make sure it's all well and good. Come in from both sides. Oh, okay. Gotta tighten that more. Pin vise is loose. Squeak, squeak, squeak. Okay, that's good. Okay, so now again, spring mechanism that goes into this little grip piece. So the spring top, it goes towards the open portion of this, and the bottom just seats in there. So then you'll take your M2 by 12 or 14, thread that into place. And this one again, because it's a pivot point, snug it down, back it off, good to go. Other M2 by 12. Don't. Okay, snug it down, back it off, and could use a little bit more. There we go. Yeah, springy, because you want to make sure that when you press it down, it springs back. So if it doesn't spring back, definitely gotta loosen those fasteners off a little bit, because you want to give it a little bit more play. There we go. That's even better. Even better. Okay, so next step, yeah, I guess this is still part of step 18. Assemble the grip component and install it onto the body. And again, here I'm going to use, it calls for only 5 M2 by 14s, but I use a few more, I guess. So far, this will be 6. There might be another spot where I need an M2 by 12 or 14, but I don't remember yet. So we'll get there when we get there. But I'm going to install this kitty. Jeez. Okay. Why are you such a grump, kitty? I got a cat bed right underneath my desk, and she wants to use it, I guess. So M2 by 14. Put that into place. Again, because this is a pivot point, snug it down and back it off a touch. Then do the same for the other side. Make sure it's kind of lined up. Yeah, that's pretty good. Pretty good. The nice thing about this is while it's live, you're kind of stuck with me, but after the fact, you can just skip around to wherever you need. Okay. There we go. Yeah, so now that folds in, folds out, and then it latches, so that works well. Just push it in, and then you can fold it back. Okay, so that's good. Little grippy do. Okay, and now this is where you need a bunch of M2 by 8 fasteners. So all throughout the body, there's 5 on this side, 5 on the other side. So you'll need 10 M2 by 8 fasteners just to put the body together. So I'm going to do that now. And these fasteners just go right into the internal components. And these ones you don't really need to ream those holes out because the M2 by 8s are short enough that you can get them in without stripping the heads. And yeah, they go right into the core body that's holding the water spray components, so you can just snug them down. You don't need to worry about giving them a little bit of slack. You can just tighten them in, but again, not too far because this is plastic that you're threading into, and you don't want to have a problem. Fastener number 3 on this side. Okay, so yeah, there's 4. Down. So 5 per side. That side is complete. Flip it and reverse it, like Missy Elliott says. Hey, so you're flipping up a fret, not tuppa. Well, I'm getting there though. Taking my time, but I'm getting there. Apparently this is right about an hour 20. Hopefully 2 hours I can get it done in. I don't know. I thought it was going to be quicker than this, but you know, you always run into things, and again, that's why I generally just make things and don't post the process video, because there's all sorts of things you run into along the way. Even if you've done a project before. Like I built one of these already, and this is my second one, but it is what it is. It's an experience. And you're along on this journey, on this experiential journey with me. Well, apparently concurrent viewers 1. One person is with me. Okay, so that is fastener number 10 for the main body. There we go. So you got shiny, shiny. Yeah, all those are in place. Shiny, shiny. Fasteners in place. So that's good. So that is most of that completed. Moving on to step number 20, the end cap. So this is where it calls for some more M2 by 14s. Yep, good thing I have more. Good thing I have more. I don't think this one, I don't think I need to ream these holes out. I think these holes are a-okay, if I remember correctly. So this just goes on the back. Put your fastener into that hole. Oops, I just noticed I'm flipping off the camera. That was an accident. This is another one where you're tightening it down, backing it off, so you have a little bit of motion in the ocean. Oh yeah, I didn't put the magnet in there yet, but that's okay. We can do that later. Magnets can go in after the fact. It's just a little bit of gluing to get the magnets in place. And of course, aligning polarity of the magnets, because if your magnets do not line up, it's not going to work as well. Not going to work as well as you'd hoped if the magnets are the wrong polarity. Okay, tighten down, back it off. Feel like that could use a little bit less tension there. A little bit less tension. There we go. Flap is good. So that's the butt flap. Okay, step number 21. So this is the carry handle component. This is where back at the beginning, when I cut that extra piece of tubing, that small 5mm length that was still sitting in my jig here. Just this little tiny piece at the end here. This is for this part. So it actually acts as a spring. So you kind of just like take it, 5mm tubing, and then you just like put it in sideways into there. And then it just drops to the back, push it in there, drops to the back of the hole. And then this little tab here, it has a little bit of clearance there because that is so that it can, maybe I need to, yeah, I think I need to give it a little bit of a file so it fits a little better. I think some people did scale down this part, but I just filed it the last time, so I'm going to grab my files. Just a little bit of clearance on the sides just to help it feed into there. Gives it a little bit better chance because you don't want it to be too tight. It's a button for the carry handle. trying to do it in the camera's view, but I also don't want all the little filings to land on this. Whatever. So I don't think I have to do too much filing because it wasn't overly tight in there. But just give it a little bit better chance because that tube in there is really the only thing that's acting as a spring. So you just, yeah, that's better. It's better. I feel like this one, it's like it could use something a little better for a spring in there though, because the tube just doesn't. On my other one, it works okay, but it's like it's not the greatest. But whatever, we'll just leave it like that for now. This is another section where you just need a little piece of filament. So there's just a hole in the top there. It's kind of hard to see. Little hole in the top, and then you just insert a little piece of filament, and that is what keeps this little component in place. So I'm just going to cut it at an angle, and then I just cut. I'm going to cut it a little bit longer than I need because I'm going to feed it in with some pliers. Yeah, I think I'm going to have to open up that hole too. Back to my 1.75 twist drill, diameter of the filament. Nope. Just noticed I grabbed the 2mm. Oh well, didn't go that far. There we go. 2mm. Nope, 1.75mm. 1.75mm, and then I'll grab my pliers. Got these nice little angled pliers. Really good for all sorts of things 3D printing related. So then you just take your little piece of filament, hold it in these pliers, insert it into place, and then just push it down. And then you can see it right now. But what I do is just take my flush cutters, cut it flush. There we go. And now you got a little protection latch to keep that so it doesn't fall out. I might, like I said, I might revisit how this springy mechanism works because it works, but it doesn't have the most spring. This camera does not focus very well. I definitely need a better camera for up here. But yeah, it doesn't have a whole lot of spring, so, but it's not the biggest deal. It's not the biggest deal because once it's in place, it's pretty much good to go. 21, yeah. So assemble the carry handle component, the 5mm long tube, insert it into the square hole, then insert the orange clip. Insert a short segment of filament as a stopper. Now glue the stock assembly. So this is what I was talking about earlier. This is where I'm like, maybe I could sand it or maybe not. But I printed this on a textured plate, so it has a nice texture on the bottom. And this was printed Yeah, it was printed this in this orientation. So all the layer lines are going this way. So in the case of the last one, I didn't even need to do any extra work to it. I just pretty much put glue in place, which I'm going to do now, and then assembled it. So give it a little bit of glue. A little bit of, got to go around. I don't want to get too much so it's leaking all over the place, but enough that it keeps the butt pad in place. And just pretty much line it up as best you can and hold it in place. It's not super critical where this sits, but it would bother me if it was not aligned. So let's try and line it up half decently. Quarter past decent. Yeah, that'll work. That'll do, donkey. That'll do. Good enough. Good enough. So we got the butt pad in place. Number 23, install the stock. Well, because that is glued and I want it to dry for at least 30 seconds or a minute, I'm going to work on this side first. So this is the hinge section. This is the pivot for the folding action. This is the plug for the grip. I'll revisit the plug and the O-ring there, because I bought a set of O-rings and because it called for extra O-rings, and it's strictly just for the grip portion here, for this base here. It's just a good idea to put a little O-ring at the bottom of that. So I do have that, and I will go into that after this. But right now, use 4 of the flathead cap screws, M2 by 8s. Just going to put those into place for the pivot. So 4 more fasteners, and look at that. I just happen to have enough. So that is wonderful. So this little grip portion, or the hinge portion, goes in there, and this is where that pivots off of. This is another one because it's a pivot. Tighten it down, back it off, make sure it has a little bit of motion. Take these things out of the way because I have too many things going on, just like my brain. Tighten it down and back it off. Beautiful. Beautiful. Okay, let's check this. It's not moving. It's not moving, but I don't trust it yet. I do not trust it yet, because I moved too fast on this one before and the muzzle popped out. So I don't want to move too fast on that one. The thing is like, if it comes off, big deal. I can just glue it back into place. But yeah, that's actually seated pretty good on there. Don't think, yeah, that's not going. That ain't going nowhere. Where you going? Nowhere. Okay, install the stock. So, oh my, that's pretty cool. So I think I'm pretty much there. Pretty much there, yeah. So we're going to install the stock now. Just going to hold that in place. Get this underneath. Oh. Oh, there we go. There we go. Ain't that something? Doot. Tighten it down. Back it off, quarter turn. Flip it and reverse it. Hinge into place. Do. Tighten it down, back it off. Okay, so now this is part of the moment of truth. So we're going to test the foldability of this system. I'm not going to worry too much about the cabling yet. Just make sure it's out of the way. So the grip folds down. Get the cables out of the way. Pistol grip folds in. This, it's not magnetized yet, but flips in. Oh, look at that. It works. It works. So yeah, that's the latch holds it in place. Then you pull that back, and then you can unlatch, fold out the grip, fold out the front grip. I don't think the actual FMG has a front grip. I think it's just actually like this when you go to get some purchase on the front there. But the designer added that little feature, not a fact. They added that little feature to it. But yeah, that is more or less the assembly. The only other thing that I need to do now is install the magnets. So in this case, I think there are three magnets. Let me double check that. So there's 1, 2, yep, 3. So I'm gonna fold this in because in order to access, so there's one magnet that needs to go here, one magnet that needs to go there, and then another magnet that needs to go on the top here. So I'm going to go get my punches so that I can help the magnets get into place. Brought it just in case, because who doesn't like hammer time? Okay, so on to the fasteners. Now this is where I'm going to switch over from my Zap-A-Gap to the Gorilla Glue one, because I really like the applicator on the Gorilla Glue cyanoacrylate. I just really like this. It's a great design because it's got this nice little cap and then these squeezy sides here, and it just really works well for applying the glue. Gorilla Glue, the breakfast of champions. I don't know what I'm saying sometimes. But you should see my brain, what it's thinking. Anyways, I'm losing it here. I've been doing this for an hour 40 and I'm losing it. Okay, so again, we got to make sure that the polarity is correct on these magnets now. I'm just going to take a little magnet stack. Just start with the one in the butt protector, foldy thing. I don't know. It's a little weird with the because these are ring magnets. You just got to put glue around it, and then there's going to be some that seeps out like into the center. But I think they opted for the ring magnets just because if you had a full magnet that size, it'd be pretty powerful. These actually are already really powerful. Like Bamboo, I'm pretty impressed with the hardware that you can get from Bamboo. The price point is really good, and it's like they're pretty good quality too. So yeah, I haven't had any complaints. I even picked up some of the M3 and M4 heat set inserts from Bamboo because I have some other projects, and I have hundreds, maybe even thousands of those heat set inserts, but I wanted to confirm that they were similar, or if not the same, to the ones that I have on hand, because when I post some of these projects, I want to start to add the Bamboo, the bomb, like the bomb listing to it. So giving that a try, but yeah, straight up, they were like the same types of heat set inserts, so that was pretty cool. So we got a magnet, push that into place. I like using this brass punch because it's brass, so it's non-magnetic, so it's not going to stick to your magnets when you push it into place. So first magnet's in place, then we got 2 more to seat in there, so just double check the polarity. And in this case, we're going to want this one in like that so that the polarity is correct. So add a little bit more adhesive into here. Boop-a-doop-a-doop. Double check again because I don't want to put it in wrong. There we go. Oh, toit. Okay. I don't really want to hammer. Ugh, I don't really want to hammer because I got a microphone right here. Maybe I'll go hammer at the table. I'm going to hammer at the table. Nice. So that was a nice snug fit. So we got the other magnet in there, so now dook, that one stays in place like that. And then the only other magnet we're going to need to put in is up here, and that is so that when you fold the stock out, it also latches up there. So again, a little bit of adhesive. This one has a recess. So this protrusion here, it goes into this recess, and then the magnet needs to sit at the bottom of that. So just put the adhesive in there. I did already clean that up a little bit because that's where some of the support material is. Actually, rather, I will say that in this case, it didn't print with support material there. And honestly, if I were doing this again, I would have put support material in there because it's not the cleanest hole, but it'll work. It'll work. So not the biggest deal. And again, kind of just push it into place. Yeah, this one, that one sits in there good. Okay, so now theoretically in theory, like I said, I'm losing it. Okay, the grippy grip, I think that goes on this way. Is that the right way? Seems about right. So yeah, grip, aka also the handle, you just push this in and then you can seat that into place. Yeah, and that actually does a pretty good job. Like I said, it's a little loose, jiggle, not the biggest deal. But now you have a complete unit. So there we go. So this is the FMG9 Water Spray pistol type thing. Toy, maybe I should say toy, because I don't know. I don't want the alphabet boys to come after me. I'm up in Canada, but whatever. You know, RCMP. The RCMP always chases me. But yeah, this is the complete unit, and that actually went quite well. So there were a couple hiccups along the way, but again, the instructions aren't fully completely. They are in Chinese, and I did translate them using the good old ChatGPT. I translated them over, and based on that, I got this output here. And this is what I was just referencing along with the images from the MakerWorld profile. Actually, I'll pull that back up here. Oh, there's a sloth. Oh. Yeah, so this is the MakerWorld profile here. FMG9 Water Spray utilizing the Electric Water Spray Kit 02 from Bamboo Lab. And that was the build. This was the build. Oh, one more thing. Yes, the O-ring. I did mention about that. The O-ring for the grip. So I might as well do that too. So this comes in a 10-pack. You have to buy one of the things about Bamboo Labs is if you're buying some of the components, some of the things you have to buy like 10, 20, 100, whatever it is. These, you only need one of them. But that's also why I was like, hey, why don't I just make another one? Because I already have a bunch. So this O-ring, it just seats in the bottom there. This is just strictly for the seal on the grip where you put the water into. And it comes with this little tool that you print. And that just threads into place. Somebody's feel like somebody's calling me. Oh yeah, I'm getting a call. My little guy wants to do a chat. So that is it. That's all. This has been the FMG9 Water Spray build, and I hope you found this somewhat informative. I hope I cleared up some of the information from the build list, and if you have any other questions, you can always post them, ask them, and I'll try my best to answer them, and we can certainly go from there. So if you want to build one yourself, again, FMG9 Water Spray by Henry Fang on MakerWorld. And that's it. That's all. So thank you to everybody who came through. Watch this for however long you watch this. If you stuck around, thank you as well. And now I'm going to post this video so that you can just go through and reference it. I'll see about adding chapters or whatever it may be, because that's a thing on YouTube as well. And then it'll make it a little bit easier for referencing later. But that's all for now. Thanks to everybody out there, and have a good one. Cheers.